balanced game based on chance better than an imbalanced game? No, not at all. If anything, it's even worse. If it's imbalanced, then you know where you need to cut corners, and like you can try and compensate for it. But a balanced game that's just a coin flip is fucking awful. Faster overlord speed, or something to truly improve overlords. Huck. Possibly. Probably not every day, but I'll just alternate. When I'm feeling lazy, I'll just stream ladder games. When I have 18,000 viewers, I'll talk. The issue is with third scouting before you can get overlords, or before you can get fast overlords. Fast overlords are okay. Stalkers kill them really fast because they're armored for some reason, but it's better than nothing. The problem is early game there is nothing, so overlords are not guaranteed to find anything. Usually they don't. If Lings and Banelings engage a Marine tank army, they're going to die no matter what. So basically I'm just thinking I want any Banelings that get near them to do as much damage as possible. It's not worthwhile trying to keep your units alive for tearing. Infestors are not, you can't go Infestors instead of Banelings with Bio. They're too easy to negate with Micro. They're not good enough unless Terran fucks up. You can go Infestors instead of Mutas after going Banelings though. I will be on Inside the Game every week. Me, In Control, Pain User, and DJ Wheat are the regular hosts. I'm not sure if we'll be having guests later in the future. For now, that's not planned. It'll just be the four of us discussing stuff. And it'll be every week at Tuesday, 4 p.m. PST. And you can find the VOD on my Twitter. I retweeted it last night. Everyone should go watch that. It was really, really awesome. Roaches, there is kind of 50-50 for me. If I feel my opponent is bad, like a lot worse than me, then I'll often go Roaches just to put a little pressure on them, scare them, and guarantee that I can't take damage. If I think they're good at all, then I'll go Spines and Lings because I hate having Roaches and I want to get to Mutas. And usually with Ling Micro I can negate the Hellions anyway. Video card. I have an MSI GT660 laptop which comes with a GeForce GTX 285M video card. Defending any kind of rush with spine-crawler based builds is really, really strong. The problem is it leaves you so defensive that if Protoss recognizes it and it just sits back and expand, they end up way ahead if they play economically. Skipping Mutas for Infestors is powerful. I just prefer to have Mutas. I don't really have fun playing StarCraft 2. It has potential, but the balanced team is so incompetent that it just kills everything. And there are some basic design flaws that need to be addressed that haven't. I'm kind of losing faith in that. You need Banelings to handle Marines. Infestors are good if they fuck up, but Banelings are just more reliable. I already talked about ST versus any pro. I have to see, because he put down the spine crawlers at the same time the Cyber Core finished, and if the timings always work out like that, then it's very, very good. But I don't remember the early game. I don't know if any pro was behind for some reason, so I have to look at that. It's awful game design that high variance all-ins exist. Like in StarCraft 1, you could defend almost anything off reliable builds as long as you play properly. StarCraft 2, there's always such a big element of guessing. It's awful. Making drones versus making units is like one of the most important parts of playing Zerg, and most of it just comes down to experience. And there's not much more to it than that. I'm gonna run another ad. Okay, I'm going to do another round of questions, and I'll be done for now. I might do more tonight. I don't know. That's really game situation dependent. Honestly, most good players do not have things timed out by supply or down to the minute or anything like that. It's a lot more by feel and situation and instinct. Especially me personally. I don't know Overlord timings beyond the first 3. I just make them when I know I'm going to need them. It takes a lot of experience to get it set up that way, but it's also much safer. If you're just making things robotically, then you'll get caught off guard a lot more often. So, my hand rests with the base of my pinky on control, my ring finger on 1, my middle finger on 2, my index finger on 3. Toss can do a lot more than make a death ball. That's just the easiest way to play. Warp Prism Harass is actually really fucking good, like DTs and stuff. You can play more diversely. It's just easier to make the death ball. So I would stick with Protoss and just start experimenting with different styles. Don't play Zerg, especially if you're a beginner. Honestly, it's the hardest race to learn by far, and it's a lot different from Protoss and Terran. You'll have a lot more success a lot more quickly if you start with Protoss or Terran. Not because of imbalance or anything, but just Zerg is very unique with a lot of kind of unusual aspects, and learning drone timing is probably the hardest thing in the game that requires the most experience. I don't practice with Koreans because the latency is too bad between the servers. My skill hasn't decreased because you don't really need to practice StarCraft 2, and I've gotten more... My playstyle has gotten more diverse because I talk with my teammates a lot and stuff, so it's actually gotten better. I have no control over what type of commercials you see. Because foreigners just do risky all-in builds every game because they want quick wins and they don't worry about getting better, so they have no experience with the late game and fall apart. I don't know what Otter Pops are. Honestly, there aren't really any. I don't know. Most of the Protoss pros who have switched over are either kind of gimmicky and cheesy like MC or just aren't very good. You know, like if Stork switched over, he would literally never lose a game with Protoss, even if Flash and Jadon switched and played Zerg and Terran. Terran doesn't really need to get and stay ahead of Zerg. The best, most reliable way for Terran to play is just ridiculously turtley and add in ghosts before Broodlords become dangerous. If you want to get an early game advantage, then the best way to play is like a Hellion expansion into a Marine tank timing. There's no level of ladder play outside Korea where you can really rely on what you see, because people are just willing to do crazy shit to try and get a lucky win. Even in Korea that's somewhat true, but it's a lot more so outside. Early game scouting, yeah, and the strength of hive units. Broodlords are quite good against Terran right now. That might change if Ghosts get more popular, but against Protoss, hive tech units are just not worthwhile, and early game is hard. So you basically have to win with lair tech units, or at least get a winning advantage, or you're dead. And you have to get lucky early game to even get to the mid game. I don't show hotkeys just because there's no reason to, and it just takes up part of my screen. Idra harass is you just keep looking around for holes. Just keep the magic box so a Thor volleys and can kill all of them, and just keep looking everywhere. Artosis has to play NASL at like 5 in the morning in high latency. No one plays that well in those conditions. I will be playing in all of the MLGs this year. Scouting for proxies. Proxies honestly aren't that good right now. Like, well, Proxy 2 racks is, but 2 racks in main is just as good, and I don't know, it's just not really worth it. Proxy 2 gate sucks, and I always go full first that matchup anyway. Faster Overlord scouting and quicker Spinecrawl build time. Probably quicker root time anyway. Also. Top 3 Zerg Tyranitas. It's probably me, Demagus, and for Zerg. Then Naniwa, Wipra, Sake? Maybe, for Protoss. And then for Terran, I don't know. The Terran, no one really sets themselves apart with Terran. There's so many of them are on that level that picking a top 3 it's not worthwhile. I would do Protoss if I were to switch. Not really play any other games. A little Street Fighter once in a while, but not really. Getting a bunch of banelings just to kill a tech lab's not worthwhile. Okay, I am done for now. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be streaming pretty regularly up until Saturday. On Sunday I'm leaving to go cast NASL for 4 or 5 days, so I won't be streaming then. But when I don't have any other commitments, I will be streaming pretty regularly. So, goodbye everyone. No, they can't. I'm waiting for a commercial to finish.
Look at Kennedy. Fuck you. Let me sleep.